thank you for coming onto the podcast today. I'd like to welcome all the viewers that are listening in to today's episode. We got a special guest, Anthony from Manmade. So you guys make, amongst other things, because I was looking at the websites, you guys, but the main product is the boxers for men. You guys do a couple other stuff, but I'll let you take it from here to kind of give us a little picture of what it is that you guys do at Manmade.
Yeah, so Manmade, our staple product is the boxer brief.
Yeah.
Where our mission is really to take on the big corporations and build the brand men need and deserve. The first product is a boxer brief. We're four best friends. We are on the finance world. We decided to leave that world, those careers, those well-paying careers, to solve that mission, to basically build a brand that men need and deserve. We launched in 2021, August 2021, and it's going to be, it just passed 2-year anniversary from our launch.
So you guys are all from banking?
All of us.
Wow.
3 of us. One of us is a chartered accountant.
Okay.
Which also worked at a bank at some point in his life, but he was at EY when he left.
Okay, so you guys left the finance world to come into the world of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
That's very interesting. What made you guys want to do this?
So we all had that entrepreneurial itch, right? So my buddy Rob, when he was young, he was in school. He was like 17, 18 years old. He had a Charcuterie Noël. It's in Montreal North. We all worked there, myself and my buddy Rob. When he was in school, he saw an opportunity, right? He was 17 years old. He saw an opportunity in the parking lot. They were selling flowers. But now the person that was in charge of that was sick. And the owner's like, okay, I'm going to give it up because I can't do it. It's too much work. And at 17 years old, he's like, I'll take it over. But he's like, you have to buy the flowers. You have to buy. Yeah. He's like, no problem. I'll do it. And he ran it for, I believe it was 8 weeks throughout the summer. Yeah. So he had that entrepreneurial thing. And then he went into like finance and it was on commission. And he always had that itch. Phil was in real estate, so he and his family always was in that, the block apartments and all that. Mm-hmm. And then when he turned 21, or even a bit sooner, he had his own, and then he started to renovate each apartment and move tenants around and bring up the value of his properties. Then you have Berto, who was in the restaurant business when he was 18. He was in there with his family. They still owned that restaurant. And Berto at 18, he was hustling and trying to get things organized for his family, but it was a bit of I can't really go into detail because I don't know much of it, but I know that he realized, okay, this is not for me. Yeah. But I love entrepreneurship, but if I'm going to become a business owner, I want to specialize in accounting. So he went into school, became a CPA, went to work for a big firm, and then eventually left. And for myself, I was always I always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I always I did a lot of parties, like a promoter, events. Yeah. So I was young, I was in that scene, I loved it. I was a social butterfly, but I always knew that, okay, maybe I'll experiment with it a little bit. So I did some Easter, like long weekend parties at Orchid and and Vatican and the
Vatican. Oh my God!
And the Dome.
Yeah.
But I always did it in a way where I knew that we were young. So let's say we were 17, and I knew that they were gonna let us in regardless. These places, right? But I'm like, okay, if they're gonna let us in, well, I don't want to wait outside, right? My prom, for example, I don't want to wait outside. So I said, let's speak to the owner. And I presented myself, look, I know we're 17, some of us are turning 18. I said, we want to be able to come and party here. You let us in, but will you make us wait outside for 2 hours where we could be spending money in here? Yeah. I'll select the good ones. We'll sell tickets, maybe, whatever you want, and we'll split the sales with the alcohol sales. And it ended up working out. And then I threw some parties myself, hustling I remember I had like 1,000 tickets to sell, or close to 1,000 tickets to sell for a big party. And the last day, or the day of, I had 200 left. I sold them all on the streets. I went up and down Crescent, and I was just like selling the party, and ended up being very, very, very good.
This was at Vatican?
Yeah. Then I also did little jobs in landscaping. Okay. Sometimes even little opportunities that I would see. I would always get myself involved, but I was very focused on finishing my education, my schooling. I was in that little rat race.
Did you go to JMSB?
Yeah.
Okay. Me too.
Yeah. But I did it part-time.
Okay.
So I worked at the bank. Then at 18, I worked at a bank, and I worked my way up. I said the bank is a place where I could learn about money. But more importantly, what I liked to speak to entrepreneurs and ask them their story. So sometimes my meetings would be an hour and a half. Okay. And an hour of the meeting would be really to understand who they are, how they got to the point that they got to. Yeah. And I ended up building really good relationships, learning a lot about entrepreneurship because I was always interested in it. And then I went to work in private banking, and I thought that was going to be the holy grail, corporate private banking, deal with big shots. But it ended up being that I loved dealing with the customer, but I didn't like so much the corporate side of things, the red tape and all that. So I ended up leaving.
When you were dealing with the customer, you were dealing with business owners and giving out, was it more B2B loans or more B2C loans?
Both.
Both.
Private banking is more on the private side, but we also handle and work closely with commercial bank. So, for example, as a private banker, you have a customer. He's a high net worth.
Yeah.
Whatever need he needs, you're his quarterback. So if it's on a personal end, you could do it. If it's on a business side, on a commercial side, you work with different partners to hand them off. And it's like a little close-knit team that takes care of these customers per institution.
So you're the sales guy.
PR, sales, customer experience, all that.
I'm assuming there's the guy who went to EY would be the numbers guy, the accounting guy.
Yep.
And then the other two founders are, what would you consider them inside of Manmade?
So for me, it's PR, customer experience, sales, networking, all that.
Yeah.
And then you have Robert, who's the media buyer. He's also in finance.
Okay.
So he's also in the numbers. Then you have Berto, who takes care of accounting, finance, and tech. Because that's really what his passion was.
Like online sales and stuff like that.
Building the website, optimization, different software.
Conversion optimization.
That's, exactly. And then you have Phil that takes care of operations and import-export.
Okay. And then the website, so for the purchases, is it through, it's embedded with Shopify, I'm guessing?
It's funny you said we're converting. So we're in the process of switching over, but we started off on BigCommerce.
On BigCommerce, I don't know what that is.
So BigCommerce is like an Android, and Shopify is like a Apple phone. So when you're on BigCommerce, it's more customizations. So we have a software engineer full-time on our team, and basically you can customize things to whatever you want. Your checkout page, we built a Manmade concierge service, which is a text messaging platform that could basically service you, charge you, and ship to you all on our platform. A lot of times when you have a text messaging platform that's integrated into your CRM, it's here's the link, go back on my website and check out with your credit card. For us, it's like, hey, Anthony, or hey, guys, I want 4 more pairs of boxer briefs. We send you a summary. Okay, no problem. Last order that you did was in size medium. This is the price. This is the shipping address. Just reply back yes. They say yes, bang, it's all done. And then it gets fulfilled and shipped. So we scaled quite a bit at the beginning with that.
Yeah. Are you guys only selling online right now, or you're also selling in retail stores? 100% online.
Yeah, we've been approached through all the hype and the marketing that we've done from different retailers, big, small, all over.
Yeah. And the marketing you've done, we were talking about this earlier, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
It's really good. It's authentic. And I think authenticity today, I mean, you guys doesn't make sense at this point. At the size that it's still a startup, right? You can't go head to head against like a Hanes or something like that. You're not going to win. So you have to have a different approach, and you guys are definitely doing that. So you're doing a good job.
Thank you. That's exactly what we wanted to go for. Yeah. And we wanted to be exactly that. Raw, authentic.
Interesting. Yeah. So you've been approached by other retail stores or wholesalers, whatever. Like, do you have plans to eventually put your product into retail stores, or it's not in the eyesight for now?
No, it's not in the eyesight for now. We're really pushing it off. We really believe that if you're going to do something, you got to do it full pin, like full throttle. You have to be really, really focused on it.
Okay.
And when you have a wholesale or you have to work with different retailers, it's a whole different beast. So you're going to divert your attention to what you actually want to build. And even though sometimes it's like, oh wow, we can sell 100,000 units of this, and but of this product in one shot, or 200,000 units in one shot. It just, you don't own the experience for the customer.
That was my next question. I was going to say, are you doing this just because you want to fully control the customer experience from A to Z? This is why you're doing it?
This is what I love. That's my
smart.
That's my passion. I really enjoy handling the customer experience and really bringing that experience where you won't be able to get at Hanes, right? But you're going to get it at Manmade.
What makes a really good customer experience when you're purchasing boxer briefs or purchasing a t-shirt off of the website? Or
it's a feeling. So the first thing is whenever you get an ad from us, or you've never heard from us and you see an ad, it's a feeling, a relatability, right? You're like, oh my God, I also chafe, or that rides up and I hate my underwear, or somebody's wife or partner sees that and says, oh, my husband is always picking his crotch, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
But then he purchases from us, and he realizes how seamless and easy it is to purchase with us. That's the first thing. Because we don't have 100 different SKUs. It's very simple. When you go on our website, it's a black boxer brief for the longest time. Then it was blue. Now we have t-shirts, socks, soap, but there's not many colors or cuts. It's just, this is what we sell.
Yeah.
Because of our mission, which is really, providing the essentials men need without the BS they don't.
Yeah.
And then once you purchase from us, it's the post-purchase experience, right? You get the transit emails, right? You know exactly where your package is. If you reach out to us, we answer you within 6 hours, max 12 hours. You call, there's someone's going to pick up. You're going to get that text message service. When you get your order, you get a handwritten card, saying, Curtis, welcome to the Manmade family. And then it's the second time you order, it's a different card. At the third time you order, it's a different card. And actually, I brought a third order card, which is a QR code you scan.
We can look at the merch after.
Yeah, QR code you scan, and it's a video we created for the purchaser. And then the more you purchase from us, or the more you do dealings with us, you're going to get that personalized service. We know your name. We know how many times you've purchased. We'll take care of you.
Brilliant.
There's no. We have like our top 5%, right? And those guys, like, to the point where we want to start integrating that. Let's say you're a Habs fan, we're going to send you 2 tickets to watch a Habs game. Why, you say? Well, because who does that? And even you're like, is that even profitable? Yeah, it is. Because guess what? If I send you 2 tickets to go watch a Habs games because you're a huge Habs fan, when you're at your barbecue with your buddies,
I'm going to tell everyone. Yeah. It's great brand awareness.
Yeah. But we also care.
Yeah,
it's genuinely care. You know?
It's a double whammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you do actually care. It's win-win. You guys want to give a good customer experience. You want to give a good customer experience, obviously, because you want them to be repeat buyers and stuff like that. But there is an actual human aspect to it. You want to make people happy. It's like the same thing here. If people call and we give a good service, and people are appreciative of the service we gave them for the insurance, it feels good. You feel good.
100%.
So it's like you want to help people out.
But you also have an ear to the ground in the sense where you understand what your customer likes, doesn't like, if there's any issues, any leakage in the company, if there's anything that's going wrong, we're able to assess it and act on it quickly, right? Instead of being, okay, well, these are the numbers, and then we look at the numbers, okay, great, how can we get our numbers better? How can we improve our margins? We definitely have those conversations,
of course,
but it also helps with return customers, right? So it makes a difference.
What is the I'm not an e-commerce guy. I built our entire website so I have a good idea of how websites work and stuff, but not with regards to e-commerce. I'm really good at SEO and I'm good at Google Ads, but not from like purchasing products and stuff like that. What is a good percentage when it comes to return customers? Like what do other e-commerce stores do? Like an Amazon, for example. Or is that a bad example?
Yeah,
because everyone's a returning customer there.
Bad example because it's a marketplace, but I would say like depends your ticket price.
Yeah.
Depends your product. Yeah. Right. If I'm selling a trampoline, how many times are you going to buy that trampoline?
Probably once.
Right. If I'm buying a board game, if you're buying something that's a big ticket item, who knows? But for us, what we like to see is we're at 30-40% return after 3 months, and overall throughout the year, 50% come back multiple times.
And that's good in the industry.
Very good.
Good for you.
Very, very good.
So what sets Manmade apart from the competition when it comes to the actual boxer brief?
So we're 4 guys.
Yeah.
And when we brainstormed the brand, we weren't fashionistas, and that's not something that we're passionate about. Although our products are fashionable, but they're classic pieces. Yeah. It's not like we're coming out with Gucci or like these big brands and flash, right? So it's very function based. So for us, it's function over fast fashion. For us, it's a question of how can we provide the customer with a epic product at a very fair price. And that's what we achieved. When you look at our product, some will from afar see just a black boxer brief. When you touch it, what is the material? Well, it's modal. What's modal? Well, modal is a very, very expensive material, and there's a reason for it. It's derived from a beech tree. It's 3 times softer than cotton, just as breathable, and doesn't stretch out at the end of the day. The way you put it on in the morning, at night when you go to bed and you take them off, they're pretty much the same thing. Polyester is derived by plastic. Cotton stretches out. It actually absorbs moisture. So imagine like wearing a sponge all day. It's like, it's it's swampy. It's not so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these like value packs that you get $20 for 4 pairs or 5 pairs, which comes out to like, I don't know, $5 a pair.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same thing, right? So then you go to Modal. And when you look at Modal, a lot of our competitors are charging $35, $40. But that's because they have to invest in prints, colors, all these different bells and whistles. Now, we're not about that. We're about providing customers, our men, with quality essentials without the BS. So it's black. Now it's blue. Maybe one day it'll be a gray, light gray or white, and that's it. Like, we're not going to do the whole, and we like that because that's what most men want. Just give me something good at a good price, and I'm happy. So that's what I feel has made us succeed so far.
And like, since you guys started in 2021, that's what you said, right? 2021 is when you started?
We launched
in
August 30th of 21, yeah.
Okay, when you say launch, that's like your first, the website's open, we're open for business, you can come purchase products off us.
Correct.
And then how long did it take before that to actually like get everything together?
10 months, 12 months, even
10,
if
12
you want
months.
to really like look at it. But we say 10 because at 10 months we really started focusing and putting all our energy on the business. It took a lot.
I'm sure.
The R&D.
I'm sure.
Finding the right factory, finding the right like, we didn't know how to design an underwear. Like, we just put them on.
That's why I'm so fascinated by this, because it's not like someone worked in fashion or someone worked in menswear or something like that. And like, all right, boys, this is what we're going to do. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. Trust me, I know what I'm doing when it comes to actually making something. But that's not what happens. Like, 4 guys, you didn't know what the hell you wanted to. You just knew you wanted to
learn,
do something.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
So we learned, and that's what we did. So when we started designing it, we just tried all the boxer briefs on the market, realized, okay, Modal is the way to go, realized Modal is being sold for a very high price. Why? Makes sense, because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we said, how can we make it there? We use Modal because the whole reason why we started is because we wanted to provide a very good quality boxer brief, and that's the best, in our opinion, and the opinion of many, that the best material to use.
Yeah.
And then when it came to the functionality of the boxer brief, we kind of Frankensteined it, right? And then we went through a number of people, but we hired and we perfected and we went back and forth with the factories until we got the perfect product. And even when we launched, to us it was perfect, but we're not like, okay, we got it. The first 10,000 that we ordered.
You get customer feedback. You got to change this. We got to change that. This isn't working. That isn't working.
Bro, I called 1,200 or 300 customers, hand dial, 10 minutes of conversation.
Smart.
And feedback.
Yeah.
We had an Excel spreadsheet with the notes and basically what's going on. And one of the things that were coming back on our V1s was that the waistband wasn't holding up as well. So we got that fixed. We increased the GSM of the boxer brief, so it was really lightweight because we wanted it to feel like a second skin, but too light. So we brought it up, we fixed a few things, and then when we came out with it in February of 22, that was like, then we started to scale. Then we started to
got it.
Yeah, because before that it was all guerrilla marketing. We were testing things on Facebook, but those 10,000 pairs were all sold organically. Like we did the hustle. Like we didn't. Montreal Gazette, we did.
There was not much paid advertising.
No.
It was mostly just like a word of mouth, people coming in.
PR, word of mouth, social media, buzz, and just get it out there.
When you're contacting news networks and stuff like that to go get your name out there, do they charge you to
Good
go?
question. I take care of that. So it was a fucking grind.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So you do the research, you make a list of
Yeah.
everybody you want to get their attention of, and then you gotta get there. You gotta find the way to get the attention of the person. So you have to find who's writing the script, who's the publicist, who's the editor, and you gotta find who they are, and you gotta send them an email where it's captivating to them. I would say anybody starting out with a good story and a good product, it's kind of easy to get someone's attention because it's new. It's new.
And you're selling the story.
And it's new, and people want to smart. They need that. And it was a point where COVID. So I would be like, nobody wants to hear about this anymore.
Yeah.
You need something that's going to lift people's spirits.
Yeah.
And 4 guys who quit their jobs in their 30s with families and responsibilities at the peak
big risk.
of COVID. Yeah, it's a big risk. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And I would pique some of the guys' attention that would be working either at the Gazette or at the CTV or Global or CGAD and whatever the case is. where they said, okay, like let's write an article. Let's do something together.
So did you do both? Like you would write, or the journalist would write an article, you guys would be featuring it, and you did like video appearances as well on television live, I guess?
Yeah, correct.
You did both.
So
Okay.
at the beginning is you get their attention, then they email you and they tell you, okay, let's set up a call.
Yeah.
And then on the call you tell them their story and they ask you questions to make the audience understand properly what's going on in their world and how it all started and where they wanted to go and what's their dream and whatever. And then they write the article. And then you don't know what they're going to write. And then when it comes out, that was pretty epic.
Okay, so they don't go, hey, this is what we're thinking of writing. Okay, no, they just write it and you hope it's good.
And then December 8th, 2021, the Montreal Gazette put us on the front page.
Wow.
That
was
fucking epic.
I'm sure.
Okay, so shout out to the Montreal Gazette. These guys are awesome. So sad what's going on because of the cutbacks that are going on there and all that. But they're epic. They really helped us. I'm not gonna say the name of the editor because he doesn't want me to. Yeah. But he really did help us, and he believed in the brand. He was really taken, like he was inspired. Because he always wanted to start a business himself and didn't really do it. And he's like, you look at these four guys taking these risks. He thought we were crazy. So he wrote the article.
You do have to be a little bit crazy, though, to do that.
We're a bit nutty. But so when the article came out, it just took off. Like sales were just coming in that day.
So you saw a spike in sales when that article came out on the front page?
400 orders a day for 2 days.
Wow.
So
and what were you getting before?
15, 20. Like obviously the launch, it's like everybody's ordering, right?
Yeah.
But then after that, when no Facebook ads, we're new, we're trying to figure things out. 15, 20, 50 at most a day. You're not making much. And then all of a sudden this comes out right before Christmas. Bang. Boom. And it's Montreal, so you know you can get the orders out. Yeah. We worked nonstop for 3 days. Like literally go home 2-3 hours, come back, continue.
And then just keep
We're
working.
packing our own orders. Like everything's done internally too. Dude.
Yeah.
There's no 3PL and then we have a customer service offshore. Yeah. No, it's customer service internal. Yeah. You're looking at him at the time. It was me. Then you have packing the orders was Phil. Then writing the cards was all of us, and making sure that we're not fucking up the orders because it's your first time. You want to make sure the customer gets his order. Nothing was like streamlined or efficient, so it was a bit. Order came in with print, and then you would have to put them, stack them, and then it was
all off the cuff.
Yeah, really.
Everything you're telling me right now. Do you know the creator on TikTok? I guess we can call her influencer. I'd call her more of a creator / businesswoman. Do you know Strawberry Milk Mob? And she sells, anyways, she kind of does she sells bikinis. Okay. So she started off as just a TikToker. She had these super well edited videos and all this kind of stuff at the beginning, and no one really watched them. And then all of a sudden she went, okay, fuck this. And she started doing a lot more raw, more funny, more just being authentic and stuff like that. She has over 1 million followers on TikTok, and like the views she gets are high, like a lot of interaction. Because some people can get 1 million followers and you look at the actual interaction on the account, you're like, I think a lot of these are bot followers or no one's actually listening to your content. You could tell that the audience were actually engaged. And for her, she sells a lot of bikinis, but same thing as you guys, she'll tell the story. And when you go into her TikTok videos, like in her office, there's just fucking bikinis everywhere. And she works with her sisters. They hired more people, and they're just literally like, it's a family sending out bikinis to people. Yeah, it's super cool.
It is. And honestly, if I were to look back, it was a lot of uncertainty, but I had the most fun. It was so exciting. Like it still is exciting. Yeah. But it was a rush. It was a real fucking rush. And that rush is a high that we love. We all love. Yeah. Right. So you have to either love it or hate it. If some people, the uncertainty would probably kill them.
Yeah. I'd say most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't like that.
No. But it also depends. Like we're in our 30s. I don't know if you're married. We have a girlfriend or anything.
I have a girlfriend, yeah.
But like sometimes you have a partner and it's like you have a good job. We have to buy a house. We have to have a family. Like what are you doing taking risks? Because there's no money coming in, right?
Yeah.
It's just money out.
Do you have kids?
So I have twins on the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So
nice.
thank you. And I also last year, actually this time, my wife and I had our first son, but unfortunately he didn't come home with us. So it was a rough time.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was rough. So parental loss is something that I've never spoken about on a podcast, and I'm happy you did ask. Don't feel bad about it. I see it in your eyes. Don't feel bad about it. That happens. 1% of all births actually turn into loss, which I learned the hard way. And And his name is Luciano, and I honor him, and I talk about him very often.
Cool.
And we feel that he blessed us with these two little boys coming next month, actually.
Cool.
November 6th, which is a month from today.
Yeah, okay, damn. And your birthday's tomorrow.
Yeah. So
you're turning 35.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, that's another thing. You go through things in life personally sometimes, right? So it could be some people is a bad divorce, or it could be parental, something that I went through.
Yeah.
On my honeymoon, I got into a really bad accident. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital in Qatar. That's another story. But you get these punches in the gut or in the balls, and it's like hard.
As we like to say at Manmade.
Yeah. And it's hard to stay focused. Imagine you're starting a business, and then you have all these things that are going on in your personal life.
Yeah.
I give a lot of credit to having partners, right? And, you know, some people take it different than others, but having partners really helped because you could rely on them whenever things are really rocky on your side. And you also feel like because everyone's pushing forward in the same direction and you have the same North Star, you get back on track much faster, in the sense where obviously you're going through a grief or you're going through something, but having that entity, that business, that energy, it helped me a lot.
So you guys, it sounds like you guys really trust each other.
Yeah, I trust my partners with my life.
Wow.
And they do too. Like, it's a brotherhood.
And you guys were were you always this close? Were you really close friends before you guys launched the business?
So myself and Robert known each other since we were kindergarten. Rob's so
that's pretty close, I would say.
Pretty close. I was his best man. Like, we're close. We're best friends.
Okay.
Was his best man on his wedding, like the regular bro thing.
Phil, good friends.
Yeah, Phil also since I was 15, and Berto as well.
Okay.
So I'm 35, so that's quite a bit of time,
Yeah.
and we just feel like we're all cut from the same cloth. We all have our different characters. You meet me in one way, then Rob's a different way, Phil, and then Berto. But when it comes to the fundamentals, which is the values and the beliefs and the mindset, we're all the same.
How important would you say your beliefs and mindset are when it comes to running a company and building the culture of the company?
Extremely important, especially if you have partners and if you want to build a team with employees.
Like-minded people.
Yeah, you need that.
Yeah.
We are very selective when we hire. Extremely selective.
Good. How many employees do you guys have now at Manmade?
16, soon going to be 17, including the 4 co-founders.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Good for you. So when you guys started up this company, like where did you get? You don't have to get super specific about this, but where did you get your money to start this? Did you guys have enough savings where you kind of just went off the cuff and started going? Did you go get financing right away? Did you, how did you? Because this is the big thing when you start a new business, as you know. It's a big risk, number one. And number two is there's not money coming in right away, and you're spending a lot of money. You know, you have to get the prototypes. You have to speak to the all the people, the manufacturers and all that kind of stuff. You have to think about marketing. You have to think about this. You have to live. You have to eat. If you have a mortgage, you have kids, you have food, you have this, you have that. Like, where did you guys get the money to start at the beginning?
So when we all decided to start a business, we all sat down and we all said, what's your situation personally? Financially.
Yeah.
Can you go a year, 2 years with no income coming in? Does your wife work? Does not work? You have savings? Like, what are your expenses? We don't have lavish lifestyles.
Yeah.
We made sure to make, you need to make sacrifice, right?
Of course.
You can't be popping bottles, going to nice restaurants and having a good time if there's no money coming in, right? So you super hyper focused.
Yeah.
We all had savings, and the barrier to entry for e-commerce was significantly lower 3 years ago than it is today. I think to start a business like ours today, you kind of need maybe $200,000, right? We started with 80, right? 20 each. And then ever since then, we haven't injected a dollar into it.
Why is it more expensive now to start an e-commerce brand?
For multiple reasons. I would say just the whole setup of everything, right? The whole setup, the marketing, the expenditure online in order for you to acquire a customer is more expensive.
Even now, since because consumer sales have dropped in the U.S. and in Canada recently. This is very recent. Just to speak from experience, so we run paid ads on insurance, and the cost per conversion's dropped quite a bit. I'm guessing just because there's fewer bidders on those keywords and fewer people bidding on the paid ads.
Or maybe you're doing it better.
I don't think so.
No?
Because I didn't really change anything. No.
Maybe you started off doing it better. A lot of guys in your industry, my belief is that they don't know what they're doing.
That's definitely true. That's definitely
right?
true.
So if you're doing anything, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Or better than just posting a picture on Instagram. Many people think that going on social media is posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook, posting on TikTok. That's organic.
Yeah.
Right? That you do that for your followers. Your 7%. We have a rule at the office where 7% of all your customers is your mega fans. You know, the guys that they speak about you at barbecues, they wear your product every single day, they live and die by a Manmade. Those guys, well, that's 7%. But in reality, when you're posting on these platforms, that's your organic. You need that. It's your storefront.
Yes.
When you have content for acquiring sales, acquiring a customer, it's different. It needs to be direct, concise. You have to have a hook. You have to have a problem, a resolution. You know, like you need to have a structure when it comes to how we do our content online when it comes to ads. If you look at our ads, very different than if you look at our organic stuff.
And this is a perfect segue. So when it comes to the paid ads, one thing that I noticed is that you guys use, I was going to say influencer, but you we were talking about this before. You don't call him an influencer. Matthew Ciavirella.
Yeah.
So do you use Matthew only for the paid ads? I'll let you take it from here, but this is a nice segue just because this is one thing that I think a lot of brands and a lot of companies, they look at and they go, how do I get into this influencer marketing? And it's great for companies that don't already have that existing audience. And someone like Matthew, you know, I saw this guy years ago, so he has an audience already. I would have to guess that you probably got him in the hopes of being able to sell the boxer briefs to his existing audience already. But like, talk to me about kind of how you guys started working with this guy.
So when we first started, like I had said, the first 3 months, there wasn't any paid. There was paid, but we had to make sure that whatever we spend, every dollar we spend, we need to go and get at least 2% and hopefully 3x on return on investment or return on advertisement ROI.
So you spend $1 on Facebook ads, you need $3 in revenue.
Well, if I spend $1 and I make $3, what's my cost of marketing? 33%, right? You have your COGS, which is your goods, and then you have to make sure that you're shipping. You have to calculate. I got to get you your product. So if so at 2x, your marketing's at 50% to acquire the customer. Then hopefully he likes it and the experience is good and he comes back, and then that percentage comes down to hopefully 20-25%. But the point is when we started, we were really strategic. So I was more like we're going to do influencer marketing. We're going to do this. And Rob's like, hold on, take it easy. Let's start understanding this influencer marketing game. So now I'll paint you the picture. We're in COVID. Everyone's a fucking influencer. Everyone's doing content. TikTok is doing really well. Everyone's making content. They have nothing else to do, right? So there was guys that were not doing it before COVID that all of a sudden they open a TikTok account and they have 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers. And some of them are still doing really, really well. But some of them it was just like, okay, because I'm not working right now, I got to keep myself busy. So we reach out to people that we felt like would be a good connection and start understanding a little bit of how they priced. And it was really crazy. Like sometimes for a TikTok it was like 10 grand US.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So then I would have these conversations with, and I'm talking about hundreds. Like I got on hundreds of calls with people, had a list, and I would call them.
Of influencers.
Content creators, influencers, but influencers, because they gotta shout out my product, let's see how it works, whatever.
And when you were speaking to them, were you trying to target influencers that had a more Canadian audience?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Canadian audience, and even to understand the US side, because now let's say 25% of our spend is in the US.
Okay.
Yeah. But at the time, it was just learn. So we're learning, and all these prices are coming in really crazy. And we're like, okay, we paint the picture. So we're 4 guys. I try to sell ourselves because, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is here's some product. Show me what you could do. If it works, why wouldn't I pay you for it? Then we'll have a long-term relationship. They're like, no, pay me first, and I don't care what really happens for you later, right? There was a bit of that. So Matt, when I got on a call with him, it hit different. He listened. He was interested. So we said, okay, Matt, you're in Montreal. Come by the office. Let's talk.
Did you know him before you called him?
No.
You didn't know him?
Didn't know him. Because he's consistent.
Yeah.
And he did more videos during COVID. Yeah. He would always come off on our feed.
I feel like the way he talks with his accent, I feel like he's probably from St. Leo as well.
Yes, he's from the East End, Montreal North. But yeah, he has the brother. Yeah. But he's very talented, right? So he's got different types of personas and characters that he goes. But he's very talented, and I didn't know that he was so structured or what his background was. I was very interested. He piqued our interest. So come in. So he comes in. At the time, I'm painting the picture. We We had a couple of, we have 10,000 units.
Yeah.
I think the Montreal Gazette article already went out, and we're trying to learn.
Yeah.
So he comes in, we tell him the story, who we are, what we're trying to do. We're trying to tell him exactly what the company's about, and he's very interested in it. And then we go and he say, okay, let's do some work together. So he did a couple of videos. He did a Sal video, which was pretty good. He did an Instagram live, and he would really work with us. And many times he wouldn't even charge. So I'm like, okay, or he would charge really minimally. So I'm like, okay, makes sense. And we appreciate you understanding that, because we don't have ad spend or capital to be throwing out. Every dollar we spend, we got to make sure, like I said, 2 to 3x. So we said, okay, that's great. Matt, I know that we're not able to work together right now, but it'll come a day that I'm pretty sure we're going to be working together. We stayed close. We started doing ads. We started showing the problem and the solution and the story. At the beginning, it was a lot of that. It was Rob, myself, Phil, Berto, running ads and creating a 30-second video that would pique people's interest of who are these guys, come on our website, and then we would acquire customers, and we'd understand our CPAs or CACs. We would understand all our numbers. Then it came to a point where the company is growing, and we don't have enough time to do all of it. We can't do everything. And the creative juices, I mean, we like to think we're creative, but we're not as creative as Matt, right? When when you have a creative mind and you're born this way, like it's in you. It's part of who you are.
It's also what he does. He's practicing. He's exercising those brain muscles every day. That's what he does.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's really a creative genius. Yeah. So we spoke to him and we said, look, in 2023 we need more. Okay, what we're doing is good, but we need more.
Double down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we need more, and we need somebody that's cut from the same cloth. And he was.
He is.
Right? He is. So he has a good work ethic. He's consistent. Yeah. He's hungry, and he's also in the process of. He has his own production company. So he started that not too long ago, and I'll explain. So when we spoke to him, we said, look, we don't want these one-offs. We want to work closely with you. So right now we work on retainer. And he comes up, at the time it was 2 to 3 videos a month. He comes up with the idea. We like to be a part of it. So we come up with the conceptualization, we come up with the idea, whiteboard, brainstorming, a whole day just on coming up with 2-3 different ideas that we're going to have to shoot. And then in another day, that same week, so let's say Tuesday we do the brainstorming, Thursday it's shoot day. So we shoot, we edit, and we make the content. And he's directing, he comes up with the script, he does everything. Wow. If you need actors, he goes and he gets them. He knows the right ones that fit with your brand. He comes up with it, and if you need it to be edited, he can take care of that as well. But we have a full-time in-house editor who also does the videography. We invested in a cinema-grade camera. There we go. Yeah, we just invested in that last month. Yeah. Before it was all shot on iPhone.
Yeah. There's something about those shooting on an iPhone, because we've talked about this, Shamar and I. There's something about shooting on an iPhone, sometimes, not always, that the rawness, people like the rawness about the content sometimes. And a lot of times, like the rawness, like our videos, when I just shot on an iPhone, will actually do better than the highly edited videos.
Yeah. Because the highly edited videos, you feel like it's polished or fake. Yeah. Versus where you have that rawness, you know that it's... People like that startup. Yes. People like that David and Goliath.
They love that shit.
They love it. And we love it too. Yeah. Because in reality, we don't have the budgets of the big players. Yeah. Right? So you have to do things different in order to get people's attention. Now you're competing against them. How do you do so? And what's really flattering is that there are competitors that are coming into our space, and that we see it every day, that are actually mimicking what we've done. So now you know you're up to something good. But when they're already following what you're doing and they're spending 5 times the ad spend per month that you're spending, well, you got to do something better now. It's already too late, right? So you just got to keep going, and that's what he's good at. So he comes up with the conceptualization with us because we like doing that. He comes up with the script. We shoot, we edit, and we have 4 pieces to 5 now, 4 to 5 pieces of content every month. And you just got to keep going because it gets stale, right? So we get 1 million impressions a day. That's 30 million a month of impressions on that on all our content that we. You're
getting 30 million impressions.
Yeah, a month.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was it started with not so many, not that many.
And 30 million of the 30 million, how much would you say are organic?
This is when I'm speaking about these impressions. I'm speaking about
just ad
spend. Yeah, paid. Okay. Then whenever we do our videos on behind the scenes on Instagram and Facebook. Sometimes we'll get 500 likes, sometimes we'll get 100 likes. But we also look at how many viewership. So if you have 3,000-4,000 viewers, well, let's say we spend $15-20 per 1,000 impressions. Well, that was free, right? Versus not having to spend it. And you just keep going. And don't forget, the more you spend on ad spend, the more people, what do they do when they see they go click shop now, they go on your website. Okay, do they have an Instagram? Do they go on Google? And they look, they lurk, they check it out. And when they're checking it out, well, you need a good storefront. So they need to see, oh, wow, look, they're doing a lot of behind the scenes. I fuck with these guys. Like, I like what they're doing. Let's test their product. Then they get the product. This product's epic. And then they're a customer for life. But
when you're running the ads, and because there's options in Facebook or on Instagram, you can pick like brand awareness, conversion. Are you just clicking? Do you run a brand awareness campaign? Are you trying to get as many eyeballs as possible? Do you run conversion campaigns? Do you run?
You would have to speak. That's like a Rob. He can go in the nitty gritty with that. But no, we don't do. There was ASC. So Facebook is a tool, and it's a tool that is very smart.
It is, yeah.
And if you're trying to outsmart that tool, you're not too smart. Yeah. So you need to.
Don't fight Facebook. Let the algorithm just do its thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But then there's different ways of positioning the ads in front of certain customers that it's over. It's like too much. Like every time there was one point, everybody was
ad fatigue.
Ad fatigue.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't have enough content to not create that ad fatigue. Because if I'm throwing you different content every time, you won't be fatigued. No. But we don't have the budgets to be doing 100 different, right? So there's different ways. But the word brand awareness, we didn't like it too much at the beginning. Even now, it's like, what does that even mean? Right? I get it. You want to be out there. People need to notice you. It takes about 7 impressions before somebody actually buys from you.
Yeah. The rule of 7.
The rule of 7. But the thing is that when we would get pitched, well, we can't tell you what the ROA is on this investment, but it's the brand awareness.
Yeah.
Fuck your brand awareness.
Yeah.
I could do my own brand awareness.
Yeah.
What's the fucking result?
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you have to spend the money to realize what the result is, and we've done that. But whenever we hear that, it's like, it's not what a startup wants to hear. When you're a big player and you're spending, and you could spend $10 million a year because it's literally, it's 1% of your top line. Fuck it, do it. Right?
Yeah.
The more the merrier. But when you're really running a ship that's tight and you want to make sure that you're running a profitable ship because you want to grow something big, we don't want to grow top line, make the sales solve all the problems. We're looking at profitability, right, every single month. And we're proud of that because we're building the business where we feel is built the proper way, the old school way.
The old school profit right off the bat. So you guys...
Not off the bat.
But are you
working towards profitability.
Okay.
No VCs. No giving out equity, and we'll sell for $100 million or $200 million or $1 billion, and we'll make that money then. No, we need to build a business.
I like that term you used, the old school way.
The old school way.
Yeah.
We're old school. We're very old school, I would say.
You don't dilute any equity. You guys have your thing. Let's get the profitability as quickly as possible. We have something here. Let's go.
Yes. When we started BDC, I know you asked that question earlier.
Yeah.
But BDC, PME Montréal, we did all the debt financing that we needed in order for us to stock up an inventory. Right now, we're running at about a month of inventory, and we want to get to 3 months of inventory in our warehouse, but it costs a lot. So what was my point? So when we started BDC, PME Montréal, we used that. We also ran a very profitable operation. We invested in the inventory. Proud to say, everything's paid for in the inventory. Like in our house, in our warehouse, it's all paid for. You
have one location right now where you keep all the stuff?
Yeah. Okay, so at the beginning and we also paid off BDC. It's paid off. PME Montréal, we're going to pay them off.
All
so
the loans are paid off.
there's no debt.
So wow.
Yeah, 0 debt. So that's something else that we're really proud of, right? So these are little things that it's not a flex. It's every month, religiously, we look at our fucking financials like a report card.
As you should.
Okay? Yeah. And we look and we say, what happened here? What happened there? Okay. Are we on the right track? What do we need to work on? What do we need to pivot? What do we need to do different? How are we going to get... Is there a recession coming? Isn't there a recession coming? Is it consumer behavior? What's the change between this quarter and that quarter? And when there's that change, you add that spend. And you bring it back when there's not that change because you got to be smart with things. So we do that a lot. And and that's something that any business owner, if you're not on top of your numbers, if you're not on top of your business, it's very hard to run blind. Extremely hard.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't. So we do that. And yeah, so when we started in our office, we would have a 2,500 square foot office. Well, we first started was an apartment office. Okay, it was 4 of us that we started working at each other's homes, and your wife wants to go to bed, and you're talking, and it's hard. So we got an apartment office, and that apartment office, we started there, and then from there we grew into, during COVID, we negotiated a good lease and a build out, because everybody was working from home.
Yeah.
Right. But we knew that eventually that's not gonna. Yeah. Right. And we didn't want to run a business where we have our employees working from home. We're a startup. I would like to have my employees and everybody on the team in a space like this.
Yeah.
And if I need something, you're not too far. And if I'm on the phone with a customer, I put it on speaker so people hear how we're handling the product. Like, you need to breathe the air and swim in the waters of
Totally
Manmade.
agree.
Okay.
I totally agree. I agree. Okay? Yeah.
So when we started, we were the four of us, software engineer, and that's it. So we would.
And the software engineer, he just does he builds the website, he integrates all the Shopify or whatever. I forget the name
everything,
of the term.
Yeah. He built out the Manmade concierge service from scratch. He has a payments background. The four of us were in payments before too, for a brief period, and I can explain that later. But we had a little stint as brokers in payments, and then after that, during COVID, let's build a brand. And that's where we learned a lot about e-commerce, and we got really, really fascinated about it, and that's how we segued into Manmade. But we were in that office, and everything was done there. We would warehouse our stock, we would fulfill our orders, we would do our customer service, we would have our design talks about what we want to do different, what products we wanted to come out with. Everything was done in that 2,500 square foot. Then we ended up getting another 3,000 or 2,500 square feet just to warehouse, just to keep our stock, because it was getting crazy, right? You can't warehouse in a little office or stock.
Yeah. There must have been shit everywhere, like stacked up and piled up everywhere.
We were pretty organized in our weird, wacky way, but yeah, it was pretty adventurous.
It's chaos. Yeah. Organized chaos.
Organized chaos. That's what I like to say. So then now we have like an 8,000 square foot warehouse, our office upstairs, all in the same building. We have a good relationship with the owner of the building. They want to see us grow. We appreciate them, so we just got that, like.
It's good for them too, because if they grow, you're gonna rent out more space, and everyone wins.
Yeah, he likes to say there's a saying, a quote that he says often. You know, rising tides lift all boats or all ships.
Yeah.
So we like to use that line a lot too.
Interesting.
So that we have a warehouse, office, and we've projected our forecast and our inventory that we should be fine in that office, in that warehouse, in that setup until the end of next year, hopefully.
There was a clip that I saw. I believe it was you who was speaking with the podcaster. You were a guest on their show.
Yep.
And you brought up the challenges you guys had at the beginning for where you were going to manufacture the actual product.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about why you guys chose to manufacture the product overseas as opposed to manufacturing the product here in Canada?
Good question. So when we started, obviously the Made in Canada was something that we wanted to do as much as possible.
Everyone does, but there's constraints to that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So especially if you want to use materials like modal, okay? So let's not get into the materials and the intricacies. I'll paint you the picture. We were young, started out hungry, and where would you go if you want to get into the garment industry? In the garment district.
Yeah.
You go to
Chabanel. The Mile End, yeah.
The Chabanel area.
Is it okay?
Mile End is.
They're right next to each other, right? I always mix the two up.
It's north.
Okay.
Or south. It's in the Saint Laurent. It goes to the Mile End all the way to Chabanel. But Chabanel is really like the area. So we walk up and down these factories, walk into places, we didn't know anything. Yeah. So try to understand. You know, can you get modal? Because we knew we wanted the modal. Can you get modal? And then we would get people that close the doors on us.
So you would literally just all four of you walk up. Hey, can we come check out your factory? We want to make boxer briefs.
Yeah, we want to start a brand, e-commerce, sell it online.
They must have asked you like, okay,
who are you selling it to? Costco? Walmart? No, ourselves. The fuck, you crazy?
Get the fuck out of here.
Literally, get the fuck out of here. Or they would laugh at us. Or the ones that would actually take us seriously, they would have to charge us so much to do what we wanted them to do that we have to charge each boxer brief $60 a pair.
Did you get the feeling that some of the owners were trying to rip you guys off because they thought you guys were idiots?
Yeah.
You got that feeling, eh?
Well, yeah, when you don't want the job, you're going to overprice, right? And then, but even at that, then we also went and we dove into the numbers with them, and it was true because they're going to mold. So the factories that make schmata here, that make material here, fabric here, they generally make polyester or cotton. Mm-hmm. It's what's most people buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want modal, bamboo, all these different fabrics, you're gonna have to go overseas. You have no choice. right? So, or they tell you, okay, I can get it for you, but you're paying a surcharge because they're gonna bring it in, and then they're gonna have to have
to pay for the shipping.
the
They have to pay
shipping,
for
the
this,
freight.
that. Yeah.
So you're gonna have to pay. So if we're gonna be direct to consumer, we're gonna be direct to the manufacturer and direct to the actual customer. So we got laughed at, closed doors. People told us we're crazy. What do you mean you're gonna sell this online? What are you gonna get, an endorser? You're gonna get like an athlete or whatever? No, we're gonna do it ourselves. We're gonna be the people selling the story, the product, everything. You're crazy. So okay, fine. We said, okay, we can do it. So let's go see what the best second option would be. And that's when we found out that there's a RAP certification. It's a World Responsible Accredited Program, which means there's 12 principles they go by, fair working conditions. And we said, okay, it makes sense. Let's deal with all these factories and email them all to see which one is going to give us a chance. Because here you are with a little PO of 10,000. Where are you going? You're not going far. So there was a number that came back, and we started going back and forth. We sent them a tech pack. A tech pack is a blueprint. It's like how to build the boxer brief.
This is what we want.
Yeah. Make it for us. They would make it, and we would try them on at our old apartment office, and we would try them on, and we would check it out, wear it, see how it was, see how the construction was, see how the thread count, the GSM, the color fastness, how it would wash, how all these little things that we learned. And then we chose the best. We said, okay, we want to work with you. And why we did that is because we got on calls with them. We're fucking old school. So every one of them that wanted to work with us, we asked them to get on a call with us. And when we got on a call, obviously it's a video call, but we're looking at how serious they took us. They're looking at why they want to work with us. They're looking at how big is your factory. We asked them questions that made them understand, and we sold them on, today it's 10,000 units, tomorrow it'll be 1 million units, and it won't take long. Most people are going to look at you and say, okay, maybe. But guess what? Gymshark did the same. Lululemon did the same.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody did the same. So you have to kind of, and I'll tell you a funny story later. I don't want to segue off of it, but long story short, they gave us a shot. It was the Sri Lankan manufacturer we work with now. They gave us a shot, and it went well. And we learned later that there was a little team that is meant to go look for e-commerce businesses and to make them smaller, to make them smaller POs, so that if ever there is something that comes out of it, that's what they want, because they realize that the wholesale business, it's still very healthy and doing well for the ones that are doing well, but the e-com is where it's at. So they had this team where it went out and we poached them. They liked what they saw from us. They saw some four serious guys in finance. They did their research on us, and they gave us a shot. And
did you go visit the factory before you signed? No. Have you been?
Yeah.
Oh, you've been. Okay.
We went, the four of us, May of this year.
What was that like?
Epic.
Yeah?
I was a little nervous to go to Sri Lanka, I'm not going to lie. I've never been to Asia. I don't know what to expect. My stomach is a little off at times depending on what I eat.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky to have a partner like Phil. He's the most adventurous person in the world, so I felt safe with him.
So he calmed you down?
Yeah, he's like, don't worry about it, bro. So we got there, and I really learned a lot about their culture, about their country. And then we walked into the factory.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I walked into factories here in Montreal.
Yeah.
That looks like a sweatshop. Here, we're walking into like a Facebook.
Really?
Bro, air conditioning, medical center, breakfast, lunch, snack, supper, paid for, transport to and from the factory.
This is all for the employees?
All for the employees. And then you have the management that they're very, very nice. They have a union. Their machines are all from Italy, Germany, US. They work with big brands. Serious fucking shit. And I'm like, wow, this is epic. They have like an innovation room.
Was that what you were expecting?
No. They told us that, because they came to see us.
Yeah.
They have another customer from Canada in Toronto or BC. And then they came to Montreal first to meet with us.
Yeah.
Then they went to BC. And then that was back in February. And then we went to go see them in May or March. And then we went to go see them in May. And when they came to see us, they told us, yeah, we have an innovation room and this and that. I'm like, okay. But we expect, I'm sure it's nice.
Yeah.
But we didn't expect how nice it really was. And then when we saw that, we're like, oh, wow. And then, we understood, you have to go, you have to be there to see how epic it is.
I love hearing this.
Yeah, it was really epic. Super epic. And you know what? So grateful. They were shocked too. So I'll tell you why. Because usually when you go there, it's not the owners that go.
Yeah.
It's usually the designers or the sourcers, and they're from big companies, and they go there and they do their business 2-3 days and they're done, or sometimes even 1 day. We stayed for 9 days. Out of 9 days, went to see the factories 3 of those 9, and then the rest of the time, the account managers from the factory took us around.
Dinners, stuff like that.
Dinners, go see the elephant orphanage, go see beautiful sceneries, beaches, stuff like that. And we got to really talk and understand who they are, you know, why they work in this, how the economy works, and all of that stuff, right? We wanted to really understand them, who they are, and how they got to where they got to. That's how we like to do business. So when we went there, it was like, wow, like these. They were impressed that there was the owners that were there, for first and foremost, and second, you're going to Sri Lanka. It's fucking hot.
Yeah.
What are you packing? Are you packing a suit?
I would hope not. I would hope I didn't have to wear.
You
a
would
suit.
think I will maybe t-shirt, shorts.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. So we're walking, the 4 of us, with our man-made cap, our t-shirts, shorts, shoes, and everybody was staring. And I asked one of the guys there, I go, why are everyone staring at us, giggling and laughing? They're like, because your legs are exposed. They're not used to that. And you're from Canada.
So the locals, they wear pants? Is that what you're saying? Or?
Yeah. If you're a man, you wear pants to work. You don't wear shorts. So we didn't know. And we're going. And not only that, we went in there. We didn't bring our videographer. And an editor. But next time we go, we will. But we went with our own equipment. So we have the phone, the little tripod thing, the light. We're all mic'd up, and we're doing behind the scenes at the factory for our audience, because we were getting a lot. Sometimes, why aren't you made in Canada? Why aren't you made in Canada? So people have this perception that overseas it's the slums.
Yeah,
there are, but there isn't a lot. They're more equipped than we are, and we want to show people.
That's a great idea, because you can go, hey, this is where we make our stuff. Look at the factory. This.
If you go on our blog on the Gentleman's Club, we have actual like a 5-minute video. Even on YouTube, we have a YouTube channel now.
Okay.
So there's a YouTube channel that you can actually see the behind the scenes of the factory. I actually ate with my hands at lunchtime with the factory workers. I asked them how do they like working here. They answered.
Sounds like a really cool experience.
It was epic. I come from banking in a very conservative household. I would have never thought in my life that I would be making A, underwear, and B, going to Sri Lanka to do what I just did. And it's one of the most epic things I've done in my life.
And so from the business side of things, so you guys decided to manufacture the boxer briefs in Sri Lanka. Is this mostly because of the cost? It sounds like this is all because of the cost. It's going to be less expensive to manufacture everything in Sri Lanka, ship it over here, and then sell it.
So for me to sell it at the price point that I'm selling it at, I have no choice.
Yeah,
I have no choice. It could be Sri Lanka, Vietnam.
What? Okay, so just for the viewers though, if you were to manufacture the exact same fabric that you guys make right now, if this was to be manufactured in Canada, what would the price point of a pair of boxers be?
$60.
And right now they're selling for what?
$24. And then when I talk to customers that are really like,
and no one's going to pay $60 for a pair of boxers.
I have no business.
Yeah.
I have no business.
Yeah.
So you have to be, but we also do our due diligence. We made sure, because the last thing we want to do is we don't want to be a part of cruelty, you know, like,
of course,
so we stay away from that, and we do our due diligence. And now we have someone that's head of apparel design that helps us with that when we look at different factories, because now you got to diversify a little in case of like geopolitical problems or any of that stuff. So we have that going on, and we always make sure that they're RAP certified. We always make sure that we do our due diligence to make sure that there's no nasty stuff going on at the factory. And we visit. We go and visit. We get on a plane. Like if we're going to start doing business in Vietnam, I'm going to get on a plane next year, and we're going to go see the factory.
So does this company, the manufacturer that's in Sri Lanka, is that their only factory, or does that company own different locations for different manufacturing plants?
11 different factories across
in different
Sri
countries?
Lanka.
All in Sri Lanka? Okay.
Yeah, all in Sri Lanka for now.
Okay.
And actually the owner of that company is a U.S. Guy from Jersey.
Interesting. Yeah. Is he Sri Lankan by...
No, he's Jewish. He's Jewish. Israeli, I think.
That's so cool.
I never met him, but this is what we know.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's really cool to experience all of that. Definitely.
Where do you guys think you're going to be going? Like, what does the future have in store for Manmade? What are you guys trying to do?
So we're trying to build something bigger than us. That's the first and foremost. Really stay true to our mission, which is, build a brand, like take on the big corporations by building a brand men need and deserve. We want to stay direct to consumer. We have visions
do you have... So sorry to cut you off there. It sounds like you have, and I don't mean this in a bad way, it sounds like you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder when it comes to going against the big corporations.
Yeah.
Why do you have that chip on your shoulder?
Because we're the underdog. I love being the underdog. And I have the chip on the shoulder because those big corporations, whenever they have a good market fit, they're always looking to cut costs. How can we make it cheaper? We're not, we on the other hand, we only have a few products and a few SKUs, and for us it's how can we make it better. Every production run we do, we make it better and better. So we don't look to cut costs because everything's aligned already. We could always do a little bit better on a business standpoint for sure, but then again, let's make the pouch a little bit more pronounced. Let's make this a little bit more like this, and let's do this, and because we're always getting customer feedback. If I work with a retailer or a wholesaler, I don't know what the end consumer is saying unless I read things online and I have to look for it. This, I invite customers to write me an email, to DM me, to write reviews. We reached 2,000 Google reviews in less than 2 years. That's organically,
crazy.
And you can't pay for that shit. We don't pay for that.
You can't. Yeah.
So it's all done organically.
You guys are very hands-on with your customers, it seems.
Dude,
which is excellent.
Every day I go on my Instagram and I'm on this, I think every day. And if a customer writes to me, sometimes I'll type, but 9 out of 10 times, hey Curtis, how's it going? Anthony here, co-founder from Manmade. We appreciate you. Thank you. If you need anything, reach out to us. It's actually us. We appreciate you. Your husband or your usually let's say it's a woman.
Yeah.
Your husband's really lucky to have you. Know that we appreciate you. I see you online. I see you commenting. Thank you. Who does that?
No one.
Right? And we have over 100,000 customers right now, or we're about to get there, right? So we're still small, relatively small, but a lot of people would have already said, the hell with that, If you look at all our ads, we answer every single comment. There's not one comment. Maybe if it's the next 2 hours, maybe give us some time to do it, but everything is answered within the day. We're very hands-on when it comes to that, and we feel like that's our edge compared to bigger brands. And we want to continue doing that forever. Right?
What's the split of your sales right now? So you mentioned earlier 25% that goes to the US, and the rest, is it all in Canada, or do you sell over to Europe as well?
No, just Canada. So Canada, US, but a huge opportunity. So when we started, I'm just gonna fuck it. When we started, we had to decide, right? You're like, okay, we're gonna start this business. We're in Quebec. We all know Quebec. It's a special place.
Yeah.
I love it to death, but special place. So long story short,
I can read between the lines. Yeah. We both agree there.
So we had to choose. Okay, are we going to do our marketing? Because now you're doing everything online.
Yeah.
Okay, so the marketing we're going to speak to is the masses, which is all of Canada.
Yes.
So fine, let's do it and let's take the risk. So we did it, and we grew. But then after that, we said to ourselves, okay, let's get into the US because it's already all English.
Yeah.
Think about that now. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, website. The cards that we do when you get an order, all our branding on all our poly bags, our boxes, our email flows, our text message platforms, everything. Everything's in English.
Yeah.
Now you want to do it a second language. You think it's just turn a switch?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Build a website is expensive.
Very.
Okay. So we tested it in Quebec. We said, okay, let's see what the CAC is in Quebec. There's no competition, right? Epic, really good, super good. It's a good
return.
Good return.
Yeah.
And the customers are great customers because
they
they're patriotic. They like the fact that you're from Montreal.
Yes.
They're supportive. So that's what I mean. They're very good.
Yeah.
Right. So website. We went full throttle. Built the website. We have a fully functional. Looks exactly the same
bilingual.
As our bilingual. Yeah. We could switch it over.
Yeah.
In US, so we have Quebec. We have French, English, Canada, and then you have US. We have 3 versions of our site, and now we're starting to make more and more content in French. It's not easy. It's really not easy. My French is not perfect.
Well, it doubles the work because just for us, let's say for example, we have Natalie she's our copywriter, and she does other things too, but she writes the blogs or helps write the blogs. And whenever we have to, she's from Saskatchewan. Whenever we have to translate it, I mean, I have to ship it over to someone for a translator. A lot of times when it's translated into French, it's not, the tone isn't the same. And then a francophone reads and they go, who the hell translated this for you? And then it's like, it's not as easy. People think that you just
DeepL it.
It's you what? Sorry?
DeepL or ChatGPT it, and it'll give you. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
Because a francophone from Quebec is not the same francophone from France.
Not even close.
Right? So you
not even close. And then sometimes when you translate, I mean, it's a lot more complicated to write in French than it is in English.
Exactly.
There might be little grammar errors here and there, and then sometimes they get fucking pissed, man, when there's grammar errors. Like, this is not professional, and they are right. It isn't professional. There shouldn't be grammar errors on a website, but I feel you when you say it's complicated and it's expensive when it comes to translating and going bilingual. We are bilingual in our office and on our website, but yeah, there's a cost to that. It's not as simple as people think.
Exactly. And so sometimes, let's say customers from Montreal or even Quebec or even around Canada, but Montreal, they want to come and pick up the product in person, and we allow it. And now it's a bit more difficult because our warehouse is not in, pretty much like we have to go to the 8th, and it's a process. It's like a 15-minute process. But when they would come, the francophones are very supportive.
Yeah.
And
chaleureux.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're trying.
Yeah.
Okay. And I respect that, because it could be like, there are people that, what the fuck are you saying? You can't speak a word of French. You suck. Like, you're not a real friend. But it's so small. The majority
99% of them will greet you with open arms and appreciate you just trying to speak in French. Yeah.
You're trying.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that's what they want.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I respect it.
Yeah.
Right? I respect it, because I would probably do the same if
an immigrant came to your country and was trying to speak English, you would be a little bit more patient with them.
Yeah. There's a business side of my brain that's telling me, like, you're hurting the economy here because of how bad sometimes they are. Yeah. Not they as the people, more as like the language police and the way they do things. I'm not agreeing with that, but I do agree with sometimes the mentality that they have is like, like, we speak French.
Yeah.
Like, if you
they want to maintain their culture. I was talking about this with our guest on Monday or Wednesday. I forget which day. But look, I get it. It's like, if you live in a different place and someone comes to your country, adapt to assimilate to what's going on here.
Exactly.
If we operate in French, speak in French.
Exactly.
If you're going somewhere, like you go to the US and they're operating in English, you should speak English.
Exactly.
I that's what I believe.
Me too. And it's going to be quite interesting, because right now immigration is way up, right? A lot of people are coming into Quebec. Yeah. I think the number is 470,000.
Into Quebec?
Yeah. And out of that, I think the majority is in Montreal. So I think Montreal has a population of 2 million. So 25%
I'm not sure.
is new immigrants. So they're gonna have a housing crisis. You're gonna have there's a lot. So there's a lot of things that are happening. Because when I have, let's say, a posting up for a position, I get like 300 applicants, and I got to sift through.
Yeah.
And I like to hire people that are newcomers and that are focused and hungry, and they want to do good things. And
they work their ass off.
Yeah. But we also that's the thing. We also take care of them in that way, in the sense where you get the job, lunch is paid, lunch, snacks is paid for. We create a family setting. I don't know how long we can continue doing this, but at lunchtime, 12 o'clock, a hot meal comes catered to our office. We feed everyone.
Every day?
Every day.
Whoa.
We sit down.
I want to work at Manmade.
We sit down all together. Now we have to get a second table, so the table this big, and there's another table behind.
Do you say grace?
No, but we sit down and we talk outside of work.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, how was your weekend? What are you doing this weekend? How's life? Like, just because you're 16, you're 30, like, you're not 100, 200, 1,000, 2,000, 30,000 employees. You're so small. You need that. That's why we want people to work in the office. That's why it's important when you build a brand that everyone has the same mindset. And we've made mistakes in hiring the wrong people.
Mistakes how?
They're not the right fit. And sometimes we're like, well, that's basically what we can get right now, but it's not true.
And why would someone not be the right fit? Would it be their attitude? Would it be not believing in the vision that you guys have?
No, they believe in the vision because they see the work ethic and they see what we've done so far. And we have a pretty epic energy in the office. It's more attitude. It's more sometimes skill set. Like it's not exactly what we need right now, right? Or the position is not really what we wanted. We needed a different position. We thought we needed this, but we don't. That's the thing of being a startup. You have to try. You can't just say, well, it's not perfect. There's no straight line, right? You need to test and say, okay, I need this or I need that, and is this going to work? And if that person's attitude is not where it needs to be, it's going to bring everybody down, right? You have that one bad apple. You don't need that.
What's it like? Because when you're a startup, you're absolutely right. You know, there's a lot of trial and error. So you might think you need this type of position or this person to do that, and then 3 months later, you're like, okay, we don't really need this at all. This isn't adding any productivity or benefit to the actual company. What's it like when you unfortunately have to kind of let go of someone, not because they don't believe in the vision, not because they're not trying hard, but just because like the company, the business itself doesn't need that position at that point in time?
Be honest. Straightforward. Have candor. Don't go in there bullshitting, skating. Yeah, read right through it. Or they read right through it. You feel it. It's a feeling, right? You could be the best salesperson in the world, but what are you selling? What are you lying to? You tell them the truth. This is what it is. Bang, bang, bang. This is what we see. This is what we would like different. We're a startup. For us, it's important that we don't waste time. The more time we waste, we won't get to our goals, right? So they understand that, and they also understand that when they're hired. My screening process is, so when I get these applications, I go through them. I pick out the ones I want to call. I don't tell them I'm calling them. I call them. I ask them questions, fired questions, like why did you leave within a year? Why is it that I see on your CV you only stay places a year at a time? How long are you here for? Why are you looking to acquire? Like, do you know what Manmade does? Like, that's most people say no. I don't have no idea. So you're on Indeed. You're just applying to things. So what does that mean? What kind of character are you? So I try to screen them, and then if they pass through the Anthony screening, then they come in, and we have two people in the usually me or my partner, or there's two of us. Yeah, and it's really straightforward. Like, if you have the skill sets, obviously for like more skillful things, but if you have the skill sets to work, and you're hungry and you're ambitious and you have the right attitude, that's already like 90% of the work, 90% of the interview. Yeah. But then if you lie, if I catch you in a lie, if it looks like it's a bit sketch, I'll call it out. You know?
You ever caught someone in a lie in an interview? What did they lie about?
I don't know. So I what did they lie about? So I'm thinking to myself, you know, do I want to bring this scenario into it? I don't. I think it's out of respect, because if that person is listening to this, I don't want them to feel bad. But
no problem.
I'll tell you the truth. The truth is, if they're lying. Okay, here's the thing. So what they lie about? I left this company, but I have an engagement. I have a letter from my boss telling me that you want to contact him. He'll tell you that I did a good job. Okay, so it gives me the letter. Yeah. It's a Gmail account. Yeah. It's off a scratched piece of paper. Like, so then I'm like, I look at it, I put it aside. I keep asking questions, but it's bothering me. So I take it again. I said, listen, you're not gonna get the job because of this, this, and that. But one of the things that I see here,
it's a fake reference, more or less.
Like, it's not fake. It's not fake. Even if it's not fake, look how you presented it to me. Yeah. Do you think I'm gonna like?
I'm stupid.
I'm not stupid. And even if it's real, why is it Gmail? Why isn't there a number? Why is it on a piece of paper that it's all like from this copybook here? Like, you're just tearing it off. It doesn't look right. And I'm telling you, for your own good, on your next interviews, don't show this paper, because you're gonna go to like a big corporation maybe where it's more suit and tie. You're gonna come in. You're gonna have the nice fancy office, and you might tell yourself, "Here's this document." I think you're not gonna get the job if you show this document every single time. And you know what? That's one scenario. That's one situation. It's happened in the past multiple times that I'm honest like that, and they say thank you, because they're trying everything to get a job, or there's some bad things that they've done in the past, that maybe a criminal record or something that they're trying to hide, and they need to be honest. So I believe in a golden rule, and this golden rule was stolen from Izzy Sharp. He's the owner of the founder of Four Seasons, right? And
Is he from Montreal?
Yeah.
I did not. I saw that the other day. I was like, damn, Four Seasons, the guy is from Montreal. That's so cool.
Him, Rio Candarel, what's his name?
I knew Candarel was,
Brofmans. There's a couple of guys, cool guys. Actually, the owner, Harley Finkelstein from Shopify. Yeah. So he has a podcast called Big Shots.
Yeah, saw that.
Yeah, I would listen to that. It's I like that.
They stopped posting the content though. I think they kind of
They're
a little hiatus.
I think they completed their season 1. They're doing a season 2 soon.
Okay.
Yeah. So the point is the golden rule: do upon others what you want done to yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So if you treat people the way you would like to be treated, things will go well.
I went to this job fair at a CJEP, so we were trying to recruit insurance brokers or people they had just studied. They had to write their exams, but it's basically people who were about to enter the industry. And so they were coming up, and there's a bunch of other companies we're trying to recruit. So we're all there. It's like a job fair, more or less, right? And there's students coming up, and my first question would always be like, hey, how you doing? This, that, cool, nice to meet you.
It's like a speed dating.
Yeah, more or less. But they're like, hey, I'm really interested. I go, do you speak French? And because it was an English program, and half of them would be like, no, I don't speak French. I'd be like, look, I really appreciate this, but like, it's not going to work. You need to speak French to come work here, you know? And the person in charge of the job fair actually called me like a week or 2 weeks later. She goes, you know, you were a little rough with they weren't applicants, but you were a little rough with the students. I'm like, how? They go, well, you told them up front that it wasn't going to work. I go, well, it wasn't. So why would I waste anyone's time?
That's the way I see it too.
Yeah.
Why would you waste somebody? So you're doing them you're not doing them a favor if you're.
You're not.
The real world is not nice. I was put in my place many times in my life too.
Yeah.
Right. And when I was a young little fuck.
It's good for you.
It is good for you.
Yeah, you need it.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And if you're truthful and honest, nothing will go wrong. Obviously, your delivery, you can't be like a savage.
No.
I also know that, but at the same time, you need to be truthful, honest, direct.
Yeah.
I'm like that even with customers.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very, very important to be that way because people read that, they feed that. You know, Manmade has 5. So when we came up with the brand, we sat down. We're four co-founders. A lot of people ask us, how do 4 guys start a business? How do they last? How do they get along? Well, first off, you know, we're cut from the same cloth. We have the same values and all that. But then, you know, a brand is like a baby, right? You have this baby and you want to be able to nurture this baby. You want to be able to know how it looks and how it dresses and how it sleeps and all these disciplines and all these things you want to put into place so that it grows up to be a good toddler, teenager, and adult. So same thing with a business. So when we first started, it was so important to us that we actually, before making any revenue, one thing that we invested in is branding and understanding what Manmade is, what it means, who it speaks to, who's the customer. And there's 5 core values that Manmade goes by, and it's actually the values that got us to where we got to today, because internally this is how we see each other. So the first is rawness. What you see is what you get. I have an accent. I don't have the best vocabulary, but
it's authentic. It's good.
Authentic.
It's great.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
Be self-aware.
Yeah.
Be raw. Nothing can go wrong because you're being yourself. You're not trying to be somebody else.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is brotherhood. So when you have brotherhood, it's you're there for each other. You have each other's backs. If things go wrong or go right, as long as you do the right thing for yourself and for your brother, there's nothing that can get between you two, right? You always have to do the right thing. And I told you earlier, went through some things in my life and whatever the case is.
And you knew they were there for you.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. The third thing, you have respect, right? You need to have that respect. You need to, sometimes, you know, yes, things can get heated. We've known each other for a very long time. So it's like, you know how you are with your boys, but it's business. So you need to kind of like split that and try your best to always remain respectful 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not 99, 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the third thing. Then you have work ethic. You need to have work ethic. If you have consistency and you have discipline in anything in life, you can get through it. Even if you're not the smartest guy on IQ status, and you know, if you have discipline and consistency, you'll get to where you want to get to. So we have work ethic. Everyone shows up in the morning at the same time. Everybody leaves at the same time, or more or less. We have like a working on the weekends. Nobody's like, oh, I got to open my laptop. Yeah, it's what it is. It's just fucking business.
Yeah. Shut the fuck
Shut
up.
the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right? Work ethic.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
That's why you chose entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And the fifth thing is fun.
Yeah.
You gotta have fun, right? So yeah, we have like a little basketball thing. We have this punching bag. We're guys. We fuck around. You know, like we do things that most guys do because we're friends before everything. So as long as you have those 5 things, it's very important. And when somebody starts at Manmade, there's an orientation that usually these days I've been giving, and it's part of what we talk about. It's an orientation. These are the things. And when it's a girl, it's a sisterhood. Same thing. Yeah. It's your brother or your sister. It's your sibling. You're part of the family, right? And we treat you that way. But it's very important that we instill those values, because those values is where the magic happens. If you stick to those values, the magic happens. And we've seen it, and we stick to it. No matter what changes in our company, as long as we stick to those values, we should be golden.
What's the funnest part about working and being an owner at Manmade?
Funnest part about working and being an owner at Manmade, it literally started from scratch. Literally, like nothing to something. That's really fun, really rewarding, fulfilling.
Do you ever stop to kind of just give yourself a pat on the back, stop and smell the roses? Because a lot of entrepreneurs were guilty of this, because it's always, okay, what do we got to do next? The job is never finished. You're always looking forward. And I'm guilty of that myself. I never stop sometimes, just go, hey, like, look what we got here. Do you ever do that? Pat yourself on the back? Or you haven't done that yet?
I don't like to see it as a pat on the back. I'd like to see it as you gotta celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
If not, it's rough, and we do that, but not often. Not often.
Yeah.
And I try to. I'm very expressive. Okay, I'm very enthusiastic.
I couldn't tell at all.
No? Okay. So like when I come in the office,
yeah.
I bring it up. And if there's something wrong with me, I get a little bit more closed in, and people come and ask, are you okay? Is everything good? I'm like, I'm good. I'm just in a bad headspace right now, and I need to either go to the gym or take care of my shit, and then I'll be okay. Yeah. But I don't make that get in the way of too many things, but it happens. It's who I am. So I can give you the biggest energy and change the energy in the room in a second, or I'll be a little bit more closed out, and I just need to really focus to get my shit done, because if not, it's going to deviate me. So when it comes to patting on the back and wins, I am the guy to be like, okay, I know this is going wrong, but let's take a second to just realize that we're able to get through this, because this and this and this and this has happened in the past, and we got through it before. But I think it's very important to have that fear. My biggest fear is that I got to get up and go to work at the bank again. My biggest fear is that I got to work for somebody else again. My biggest fear is that Manmade fails. My biggest fear is that our partnership fails. Even though sometimes in the heat of the moment, you're like, we got to get this done. This has to be like this. And why this? Da, da, da. You sit back and you realize, take a second, look at what we've built so far. If we're able to get from 0 to 1, 1 to 100 is easier. Mm-hmm. It's the 0 to 1 that's really hard. And that's what we keep reminding ourselves, because we got this far. Now, there's so many things that can go wrong. We're not dumb. There's recessions, there's competition, there's so many things that can go wrong, right? So that fear and keeping us on our toes, that anxiety, that I'm trying to look for that word here, that worry never goes away. It never goes away. I don't think it'll ever go away. And I don't want it to go away, because that's what gives you that hunger.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
It shouldn't. If it does, it's time for you to quit.
Yeah.
Do something different.
Yeah.
Right? So that's it. And the other thing is the like imposter syndrome, where you feel you're not good enough. Like I'll be at a table with family, friends, and I'll be like, I suck at this, or I should read more books. I like reading. I do. I don't have the time to read these books. When I used to take the public transport, read them all the time. Compound Effect, for anybody who hasn't read it yet, it changed my life. Compound Effect, The Art of War. There's a bunch of books that I've read that I really took a lot of info from, and it really changed my life, but I don't do it enough. Or there's certain things that I want to get better at, but it's like, take a second, realize that you're really good at these things, right? Double down on them. Keep doubling down on what you're really good at. What you're not good at, either find a partner that is going to complement you, or work on it, but don't be so hard on yourself. It's easier said than done, 100%. But
do you guys, the 4 founders, do you guys hang out outside of work as well?
Yeah, we do. Now with families and all that. So Robert has 2 daughters. Berto has a daughter. Phil just got married, and I'm expecting twins. So it's harder to get together, but yeah, we do hang out. We're friends, right? So if Phil just got married not too long ago, we made a mess at his wedding. Or for example, what we also do is that twice a year, we do an offsite. So that's something that really helped us succeed and is going to help us continue to succeed is that we don't fail to plan. We plan a lot, but there's a difference between planning and then analysis by paralysis. So you have to be able to plan and fucking execute. And if you break your face, go back to the plan and maybe, create a different one. But the point is that twice a year, either at the beginning of the year, the beginning of the year and the middle of the year, we take the 4 of us, no matter what's going on in our lives, we pick a weekend, and we go back to basics. We go back up north where it all started. It's
like a retreat.
Yeah. It's what it is.
Yeah.
And we go whiteboards, laptops, everything that we got to go through, and we basically build out what needs to get done this year. So at the beginning of the year, we have our pillars: sales, tech, company culture, finance, legal, all that stuff. So we look at that and we say, okay, this is what we got to do. What's the goal? How much you want to do this year? How are we going to get there? Blah, blah. The whole thing is filled out. And then we go in roles and goals. Everybody has a quadrant, even the employees, and you understand what needs to get done. This is your job. Get it done, right? And every month we redo it. We go back and we edit it. We edit what needs to get done for the following month and the following month in order to get to that goal.
You guys sound like you're very meticulous and very organized about running this business.
We are, definitely. You need to be, right? Especially if you're 4 and if you want to grow quick. Like we're setting ourselves up to 5x last year. And then we want to double, and then double again. So
by double, so you want to be at...
I want to be at 100 million in 5 years.
100 million in revenue in 5 years?
Or less. Another 3.
Good for you.
Another 3.
And margins, typically speaking, on like a pair of briefs, it's like if you're allowed to talk margins. But like in the industry, what I heard, isn't it like 30% or something? That's industry standard.
You're talking about like EBITDA, or you're talking about like margin on
the
goods?
like so let's say, for example, I give so I sell, it's going to be $40 for this pair of boxers. It costs the manufacturer like $20.
So that's just the cost of goods.
Yeah.
So cost of goods is 20%.
Okay.
Right. So you want to make 80, and then you need to look at your shipping, and you need to look at your marketing. And then you have your gross margin. Then you have your fixed costs. And you have your EBITDA. So your EBITDA, you want to stay between 10, 15, 20, 25 if you're really good. That's talking about Apple numbers.
Yeah.
It's good. That's what you want to be at. And we're very frugal, right? Extremely frugal.
Italians, all the Italians I know are very...
flamboyant?
No, they're very... they're like that as well. We have one guy over there. He's from Laval, Champ de Fruscio. He calls himself cheap, but I like to use the word frugal as well.
Yeah. Well, frugal in the sense where, we didn't take any salaries till we started till we started making money.
Yeah.
Salaries were really small.
Yeah.
And then we kept growing and growing, and we made sure that we're not trying to build a lifestyle. We're trying to build a business.
Yeah.
The business comes first.
Hey, you guys are doing it right.
That's the way we see it, right? Yeah. So there's 2 ways when we first started. We said either we're going to go top line heavy and go for the VC funding and really grow a brand that way and just spend on marketing and just bring in the sales, and then it'll figure itself out. And then there's the other way, like I said earlier, is really like trying to be as, metric, KPI and margin focused. And it wasn't the case at the beginning, right? At the beginning,
well, yeah, especially like just with the example of paid
fixed
ads.
costs were expensive, bro.
Yeah, and just with the example of like, let's take paid ads. I mean, people think when you run paid ads, it's like immediate, you're making a profit. No. You have to try. There's a lot of trial and a lot of error when it comes to running paid ads, and you waste a lot of money on running paid ads. Like that's the name of the game.
Most people in e-com, they don't make money on the first acquisition.
Yeah.
We're very lucky. Our average order value is high enough that our CAC is 50% or lower.
Yeah.
Depending on the time of year. And then we break even or make a little bit on the first order. So that helps the company stay afloat and not drowned. And then because we have a good product and a good customer experience.
It's the repeat customers that's where the cash starts rolling.
Exactly.
Got it. So there's a cost of client acquisition cost. You get them in the first sale that you make to them. You're happy if you break even, and then you're banking on the 30 or 40% return customer to come back and make the cash off them.
Correct. And then build a brand that way. And
give them the sexiest customer experience they've ever had in their life, where they're going to tell a bunch of other people.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
All right. And a good product.
Yeah.
You need a very good product because you have competition out there, and your price point isn't $5 a pair.
I'm gonna order some boxers right after this.
Yeah,
actually.
I brought you some.
I'll order some more just to support you guys.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
But I want you to try them, and,
okay.
And it'll probably skew or motivate you to buy more or less.
Okay. Perfect.
But the point is you have to be that way because if not. The way we see it is now we have 16 mouths to feed.
Yeah.
Right? And the last thing you want to do is be cutting people out of your business because it's not doing well. It doesn't feel good.
No.
It's not good for the morale. And we are in hyper growth mode. We want to grow. Right? So in order to do so, you need to be focused. And you need to be a little bit lucky. Things in life don't always end being a straight line.
But you got to be good to be lucky.
Yeah.
100%.
1000%. And I give a lot of that credit to like a lot of the ad spend and a lot of the making sure that things are going in a way where either we're breaking even or making money is every single day we have a media spend sheet where every day, depending on US, Canadian, returning US, Canadian, even Quebec, we look at how much we spent, how much came in, what was our CAC, what was our gross profit.
Every day.
And that takes about an hour.
Makes sense because that's the business. That's an e-commerce business.
Yeah, Rob spearheads that. And
we gotta step up our marketing game if you're hearing this, man. We got to step the fuck up.
But the thing is,
the podcast is not just enough.
Yeah, but the thing is that we're 100% direct to consumer.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing it right, you're fucked. What are you doing?
I get it.
Right?
I get it.
And the dream is maybe one day to have our own stores. You know, really stay direct to consumer. You know, Aldo, that's another guy on the Big Shots podcast. Yeah. He said the same thing. Like he had a huge deal with Doc Martin.
Doc Martin. Okay, cool.
He was the distributor in Canada. So basically from England to here or UK to here, and then he would distribute. And then they wanted to do something with him where he would, because 80% of the sales of his stuff were coming from them. I might be fucking this up, but the point is that the deal that they had structured was going to make him not direct to consumer anymore, but it was going to make him a lot of money. But he decided not to do it because he had a plan and he wanted to stay direct to consumer as much as possible. And today he's Aldo, right? So that's you have to be stubborn.
Yeah,
you have to be,
or just believe in it. So
much so that it becomes a reality.
Yeah,
manifesting definitely is something that we do. Yeah,
Anthony, I think this is like a really good point to leave it off.
Yeah, brother.
I really appreciate you coming on today. Any last words? Let's get to plug you guys in. Any last words you'd like to talk about for Manmade?
Last words. Listen, we're a startup from Montreal. We have a long way to go. But if anybody listening to this, I'm sure it's a lot of business entrepreneurs, somebody who's either starting a business.
That's the audience.
Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. So started a business, on the way of growing their business. If they have any questions, if they want to hit me up, if they want to talk shop. I love making new friends. I love networking. I love people. So for me, it's one of those things where I invite.
I can tell. I appreciate you coming, man. This is actually the first time I've had a guest that I've never met them or spoken to them before. This is the first time we're ever interacting.
Thank you.
I think it's been quite natural for.
Thank you, and a lot has to do with what you've done so far. I could see how long has this been going on?
For like the podcast stuff. This is episode 35, 36, episode 37.
37. So I could see that you're grinding it. You're doing a good job. You're a good host.
Appreciate that.
Very warm. You welcome us very.
It makes it the podcast. It's really easy for me, man. You make it easy. I ask the questions. You give the good responses. You're animated. It makes my job a lot easier. But it's also interesting to hear stories. And obviously, you know, it's a win-win, and it's good for me. But it's also good for you. We take care of all the editing, get like exposure and stuff like that. Everyone's happy.
Definitely.
And it's also. The end of the day too, the viewer wins by getting to hear stories from a guy like yourself. You know, you guys, this is a brand new startup, and you're doing something obviously that fucking works, and people, you know, should take lessons from that, and I'm sure people will.
I'm gonna say something. I always knew I had an entrepreneurial itch, but I was always a little confused as to how I would go about being an entrepreneur. And I worked at a bank for a long time, and I always found myself, like I said earlier, speaking to entrepreneurs, learning about their stories. I was so intrigued. It would spark
there's no playbook for entrepreneurship, you know. So
if I were to know I would be selling underwear and building a brand the way I am, then I would tell you you're high. Like, what kind of drugs are you smoking? You're busted. But the thing is when you think about it, if you have the consistency and you have the discipline and you have a plan and you stick to it and you're super disciplined, and the people around you, wife, friends, family, girlfriend, whatever, they're aware of where you want to go, and they are aware of how you're going to get there, and you actually put in the fucking work, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be the smartest guy, Ivy League school. You have to have balls, and you have to have work ethic. If you have balls, work ethic, and a good support system, everything is going to happen. Just a matter of time.
Could not have said it better myself.
Thank you, brother.
Anthony from Manmade. This is Curtis Killen, Freemium Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and have a good one.
Thank you, brother.
Cheers.
Great. Cheers.